The Twins are below 500. The NBA could come to an end tonight. We're going to meet one of the newest Bison tight end recruits, and we're also chatting golf and hockey today. Doesn't get much better than that. Hot Mic starts right now.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota. Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to this You're Stuck With Me for One More Day edition of Hot Mic. It is the 19th day of June, 2025. Thanks for joining us however you are on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com, WDAY Plus as well. Packed show for you today. Oh, man, I don't know if 2 hours is going to be enough, but we'll do our best to fit everything in the time that we have here on this Thursday morning. Once again, Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo. Dom will be back tomorrow when this show picks up everything, and we're live on location at the Moorhead Country Club for the Red River Amateur Championship. We're going to preview that tournament today with a special guest that's coming in studio. The Moorhead native and Bison golfer Ian Simonich will join us. Nobody better to preview this upcoming tournament, so looking forward to that. Also today, we're going to chat about the NBA Finals. Game 6 is tonight. We could crown another champion by the time midnight hits tonight. No doubt about that. Let's say even 10 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. We could crown another champion. OKC's just one game away from winning the title. So we'll preview that a little bit here in hour number one. Get you ready for that. Twins back in action yesterday. Interesting game. Started late. Rain came through. And the Twins lost again. So we'll talk about that in just a little bit. And also later on in the show, when the St. Cloud Power Hour takes a new meaning later on this morning, we're taking out the middleman. We're going St. Cloud and St. Cloud Communication here. Myself and Alec Ausmus will chat it out at 10:35 this morning. So looking forward to that. As I mentioned, we are going to meet the newest Bison tight end recruit today as well. Caden Ward will join us on the show this morning. Looking forward to that conversation, chatting about his decision to commit to NDSU. And, of course, when I'm in the big chair here, got to talk about hockey, especially high school hockey. We're going to have Tyler Klein on later on this morning, the head coach of Fargo North Hockey. Some big news out of high school hockey in the Metro. The landscape is going to look a lot different going into next season. South Shanley no longer a thing. Shanley now a standalone program. North and South are going to co-op together. So we're going to hear from him about that decision and what that can mean for hockey in the area moving forward. A lot more to get to as well. The Sac State saga continues. President pleading for an FBS bid. If we have time, we'll talk about that a little bit later on as well. The Lakers got sold yesterday for $1 gajillion. Interesting news there. College World Series was fantastic again last night. Crazy game, which we'll get to later on in the show. A lot to get to. It's going to be a fun Thursday, no doubt about that. Thanks for joining us once again. All right, let's start with the Twins. Again, in a 3-game stretch in Cincinnati, first time playing the Reds this year. They dropped game 1 of the series on Tuesday in a tight ball game. 1-run game. They had an opportunity to tie it or take the lead and just didn't work out. So we go to game 2 that happened last night. It was supposed to start at 6:10, but the weather decided otherwise. 2-hour rain delay in this game on Ellie De La Cruz bobblehead night. How could they? So eventually this game would start at 8:15 after a 2-hour and 7-minute delay due to the rain. Fans, they weathered it out. I'll give them credit. We did get to the action just after 8 o'clock, and it was Byron Buxton to get things going with a solo shot in the first inning, the first pitch of the ball game. It's a 1-0 lead for the Twins, and Buxton goes homer in the last 2 games. Good sign there from Byron after being hit by that pitch in Houston. We go to the bottom of the second. Spencer Steer at the plate. He goes to the opposite field, and this one leaves the yard. It's a 2-run shot for Spencer Steer and the Reds, so they take a 1-run lead. We go to the bottom of the third with the Reds still leading. Matt McLean, an RBI single to the opposite field once again. That would pot another run. Cincinnati sitting pretty in the third inning, 3-1 lead against the Minnesota Twins. Couple innings pass by, Reds still leading, Twins not able to get any run support. Will Benson at the plate. He's been great this series. Rips an RBI single to right field. Another run comes in to score. It's 4-run Reds. Then we go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-2 Reds at this point. And then eventually the rain came down once again. It was another long delay, and they said, you know what? Screw it. We're not playing this game anymore. We're done. 6 innings, and the game got called. 4-2 win for Cincinnati. The Minnesota Twins have now dropped their last 6 games in a row. 1 to Texas, 3 to Houston, and now 2 to Cincinnati. Tough month of June. Tough month of June. No doubt about that. Bailey Ober got the start. He went the distance, I guess. 5 2/3. Gave up 9 hits, 4 earned runs. Had 5 strikeouts to give up that home run to Spencer Steer as well. Nick Lodolo, 6 innings pitched. 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 strikeouts for the Reds. And, of course, Byron Buxton with homers in back-to-back games. Good sign there. That's one of the few positives the Twins have going for them right now. They're below 500 for the first time since, mid-May? Was that the case? They're now a game and a half back of Cleveland in the second spot of the AL Central standings. They'll go at it again tonight, 11:40 start time this afternoon. A lot of afternoon games in the MLB. Chris Paddock and Nick Martinez will go at it. We'll see if the Twins can finally get a win back on the schedule here in the month of June. So that's what's going on for Minnesota. We'll remind you of that later on here this morning. Do want to get to it quickly because we got to get rolling here on this Thursday morning. NBA Finals, Game 6 coming up tonight. And I will say, I'll be the first to admit it. I said it all week. I'd be amazed if this goes to I'd be amazed if this doesn't go to Game 7. I spoke too soon. I really did. I spoke too soon. Of course, we told you yesterday, Tyrese Halliburton, we learned that he had an injury, lower body, a right calf strain that he suffered in Game 5 just a couple of days ago. Luckily for the Pacers, they've had some rest days. He's been evaluated thoroughly, but he will be a game-time decision tonight for Indiana in a must-win ball game. So we'll see. We'll see if he's going to play, and my thought here is if he plays, great for Indiana, but he's got to do a lot more than 4 points. I know he was injured for that game and fought off the coaching staff and demanded he played in Game 5, but he's got to do a lot more. He's got to essentially be healthy 110% because OKC's playing good basketball. And the Pacers need a win to force a Game 7. So we'll see. 7:30 start time for that on ABC tonight. You can catch it on WDAY. Games played in Indiana. Eric, before we go to break, you got something on Tyrese Halliburton? You got an update for us?
Yeah, well, just off of last year, when he didn't play in the 2 games against Boston, they were 0-2.
Exactly.
So they need, as much as he hasn't shown up throughout kind of the whole game and shows up in the 4th, they need him to win. TJ
McConnell was good in Game 5, but you can't bank on TJ McConnell to leave the Pacers to a Game 7. It's a must-win game. Oklahoma City is the favorites, -6.5 going into tonight on the road once again. So we'll see. Game 6 coming up later on tonight. We'll remind you of that later on in the show as well. Let's set up the show. I mentioned our great lineup of guests today brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. In a couple of minutes, Caden Ward will join us, a North Dakota State tight end recruit out of Nebraska. So we'll chat with him here in a couple of minutes. Ian Simonich will join us in studio at the bottom of the hour. We're talking Red River Amateur Golf, Bison Golf as well. just wrapped up his senior season. A lot to get to with Ian Simonich today. Then in hour number 2, it's another loaded hour. Tyler Klein, head coach of Fargo North Hockey, will join us. We will talk about North and South coming together and the landscape of high school hockey changing for next season. And Alec Ausmus will join us at 10:35 as well. Chatting Minnesota Sports, St. Cloud Power Hour back on this Thursday morning. All right, with that being said, let's get into a break. Caden Ward joins us next on Hot Mic. Welcome back on this Thursday morning. Thanks for joining us on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, also streaming on Inform.com and the WDAY Plus app. The countdown is now sitting at 72 days until Bison football kicks off at the Citadel for the start of this upcoming season. Of course, earlier this week, we told you the news of North Dakota State adding a tight end prospect from Nebraska. And here to tell us all about it is the man himself, Caden Ward, joining us on this Thursday morning. Caden, congratulations on the decision. Describe this weekend and the story that went down with getting the offer, because there's a story up on Inform.com that Dom did about you. It seems like it was a wild weekend. Give us the story on that.
Yeah, it was a pretty nuts weekend. We came up on Wednesday night for a Thursday and Friday visit, and Thursday, we get here and there's a lot of meetings showing us around, and then Friday, pretty much the same thing. A lot of meetings showing us around, and eventually we have a meeting with Coach P, Coach Polisek. And he's talking to us about the program and values, beliefs, and what they're all about. And as he's going, he just kind of throws out the fact that I have an offer. And I look at and he just keeps going. If you know Coach P, he's a pretty quick guy. He focuses on urgency, and you can see it in him. He's on the next thing. So he kind of throws it out that I already have one. And I'm sitting there. We're in the team meeting room. I look at my mom. She looks at me. And my mom kind of stops him and is like, hold on, wait, you said he has an offer? And he's like, yeah, did nobody tell you guys that? And so we're all like, no, nobody told us that. So that was a really cool moment. Because, everyone kind of in shock. Like, once it kind of hit me, I was like, ooh. So, yeah, we laughed about that. We talked about it later on that day, and Coach P was laughing, and he was apologizing. He's like, I thought somebody told you. So that was a really funny moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome to hear. I got to ask you, before you came up this weekend, what'd you know about North Dakota State football?
North Dakota State is obviously a big-time powerhouse football team. It's a big program. It's big-time football up here. And, coming up, I'm coming up to a big-time team, and I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
And I know not everybody gets this opportunity, so and I was really just wanting to make, a good impression on the coaches, because I didn't know what was going to come out of it.
Yep.
So, yeah.
So once you had that conversation with Coach Polisek, how quick was your decision made? Did you go home and sleep on it for a night, or was it right on the spot?
Well, no, I ended up making a decision the next day. I ended up doing their camp as well, just to kind of see how the coaches coach. And, the day before and that Thursday and that Friday, seeing the campus and seeing the facilities, the people, the coaches, it's somewhere that I already knew, I would love to go to school here. I'd love to play football here. So he gave me, found out we're offered, and I was talking to my parents later that night, and I'm like, yeah, this is somewhere I want to go. So really, within a couple hours, it was already in my mind. And then that next day, when me and Coach P talked, I was like, all right, I'm ready to be a Bison.
And what did he say? What was his reaction to that?
He was super pumped. That was also a really cool moment. He was all pumped up. Coach Lilly, he was there too. He was all pumped up. Coach Larson as well. Even some other players that were in the facility, they came up and shook my hand, met me, and everyone was just all fired up. And it was so cool.
That's good to hear. What a wild weekend. Going from not knowing you had an offer to knowing you had an offer and then making the decision there. And Fargo's lucky to have you, man. We're watching some of your tape here from this past season. Now, NDSU has had a lot of great success finding talent in the state of Nebraska. Off the top of my head, I think of recently Cole Payton, Marty Brown, and he may even be a little bit before your time, but our guy Kyle Emanuel, who helps us out on the football broadcasts, and plus the class of 2025 has a great group out of Nebraska. How much did that play into your decision at all?
Yeah, there's a lot of Nebraska talent up here at North Dakota State. One of my buddies, Mikhail Ford, is actually from Lincoln East.
Yeah.
He just got up there, and we played against each other. And I mean, being around Nebraska guys, and like Mikhail too, it just kind of helps with that, a little bit with that team bonding, a little bit of that brotherhood. And North Dakota State, they're big about culture. They're big about being together, being a team, and really any connection, like being from the same state, anything just like that just makes it a little bit even more connected. And I think that's great to have in a program.
Going to a program that utilizes fullbacks and tight ends, which is kind of a lost art these days in college football, how much does that excite you?
Yeah, our offensive coordinator is a tight end coach, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah. But yeah, there's during the visit, we went to a film meeting, and with Coach Larson, and he was showing how they run, like what they run, their personnel, and many of the times there's 2 or 3 tight ends, fullbacks on the field, and that's something I am really excited about. Obviously, it creates big time matchups that NDSU they're all for it. They love the mismatches, and that's something I'm really excited to be a part of.
Well, describe what kind of player are you when you come up to North Dakota State. What can fans expect?
Yeah, I mean, at my high school right now, the past couple of years, we've had some really good running backs. So we've been running the ball a lot. And in my film, you'll see a lot of blocking, and I'm sure that'll carry up here to North Dakota State. I'm also a pretty good pass catcher as well. So I'm not sure exactly what they're gonna have me doing for tight end yet, but sounds like hopefully I'll be making some plays, blocking, and helping our running back score touchdowns.
I've been hearing since your commitment you're a blocking tight end, but you're telling us you got some hands on you too, huh?
Oh yeah,
there
absolutely.
You go. Good sign, good deal there. You're from Lincoln, and for those that don't know, describe the level of football that's being played at the high school landscape in Nebraska. What are you going up against on a weekly basis?
Yeah, and it's big time football here in the Midwest. I think a lot of the time there's a lot of focus on like Florida, Texas, all those South schools. But I mean, here in the Midwest, it's a real deal. We got one team we're going up against this season. I think they got 14 guys with Division I offers. I mean, every school has like a handful of talented guys that are going to the next level, that are going Division I. And I mean, you can get beat any week here.
Yeah.
And these guys, they take it really serious. And I think everyone plays with a little chip on their shoulder because of that, like Midwest type of deal. Like I said, many of the times, those Florida, Texas schools are always getting all the hype, and yeah, there's some ball players up here.
Definitely agree with you. And we've seen, as we mentioned, a lot of those ball players come through North Dakota State and put together some really solid careers. Was football always a number one for you, or were there other sports in the mix throughout your high school and even youth careers?
Yeah, I thought I would always play baseball when I was growing up. In school, I have a picture somewhere around the house. Back in like first grade or second grade, I think, they actually took a picture like on a whiteboard, writing what you want to be when you grow up. I wanted to be a Major League Baseball catcher.
No, okay.
And yeah, so that was always my sport. I was always better at baseball than football. And then getting into high school, once I got a taste of varsity football my freshman year, because my freshman year I just suited up for our playoff game. Once I got a taste of that, then I was just all for football, and that's all I wanted to do.
When did it kind of set in that, hey, Division I football is a reality here?
I would say maybe my sophomore going into junior year.
Okay.
Once I was done with my sophomore year, that was my first varsity season. I started at tight end that year, and I was making plays, and as a sophomore, taking on these seniors who were going to Nebraska, and I was like, wow, this might be something that I can move on with.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
What's the outlook for your senior season? What are your expectations going into your final year?
Yeah, I'm thinking we're going to be a really good team.
Good to hear.
And I'm hoping that from myself standpoint, we're going to be a lot of the same stuff that is already on my film. A lot of blocking. We got a few great running backs again this year. We also got a quarterback who's just phenomenal. We just got done with the team camp, and the throws he's making is just great. So, I'm thinking we're going to be more than decent. We're going to be a great team this year. We're going to make it to the playoffs. We've been bounced out in the first round since my freshman year. So that's something us seniors are really striving to get past this year. And, if we really use that as motivation, then I think we can do it.
That's good to hear. Do you have time this summer to kind of decompress after a wild weekend like this was? What's your schedule coming up?
Yeah, so, like I said, we just got done with the team camp. Today is actually a day off completely from football, which is nice. Can kind of soak it in today. Every day it's been something, go, 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 go. But, yeah, we got, from our high school standpoint, we got a lot of 7-on-7 for the rest of June. And then July is more of just a lifting type of month. And then we start our team camps later on. And then going to August, practicing. And then I think it's August 27th, I believe it is our first game.
Oh, there you go. All right, it's coming up. So if NDSU is 72 days away, what is that, 70 days away? So it's coming quick. We'll be rooting for you. Best of luck in your senior year, and thanks for joining us this morning. Congratulations on the commitment. We're excited to get you up here.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Caden Ward, there he goes, joining us on this Thursday morning, the newest Bison tight end recruit out of the state of Nebraska. NDSU had a great weekend on the recruiting trail. Picked up the number 1 DB in Minnesota over the weekend. Picked up a running back, wide receiver, Rajon Nelson type player out of Mounds View High School in Minnesota as well. And then, of course, Caden, who is the first recruit out of Nebraska for this class of 2026. What's the number? I think we're up to 13 guys right now for this class of 2026, and offers are being thrown out for 2027 already as well. So really cool to hear from Caden on his decision. He describes himself on social media, and if you read the article about him on inform.com, as a blocking tight end, but he can catch the ball as well. You saw it on the clips, and I'm sure we'll see that when he gets up to Fargo. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we are chatting Red River Amateur Championship Golf. It's going to be a busy weekend for all of us here at WDAY, and an even busier weekend for a lot of great amateur golfers in the area. We'll have Ian Simonich in studio to get us ready for that tournament when we come back. All right, welcome back on this Thursday morning. Reminder for you, we are just 1 day away from the start of the Red River Amateur Championship at the Moorhead Country Club. We're going to have all the action for you on WDAY Extra and WDAY Plus Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday, we're on at noon. Saturday, we're on at noon. And Sunday, we're on at noon as well. Friday, we're on from 12 to 3. Saturday, we're on from 12 to 5. And I figured there's no better person to get us ready for this tournament than a man who knows the course better than probably anybody, and that's Ian Simonich joining us here on this Thursday morning. Ian, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming in today.
I'm good, yeah. Thanks for having me. It's always fun to come in.
This is becoming kind of a yearly tradition once we come around this time, isn't it? Are you excited for this week?
I am, yeah. I'm super excited to play some competitive golf again. It's been a while since the Summit League tournament, and yeah, so it'll be fun. It's a great week, especially with everything you guys do, and there's just no amateur tournament that is televised on TV, and that's what makes it super cool.
It's an interesting event, and there's some high-quality golf. We're going to touch more about that in just a little bit, but I want to talk about your senior season at NDSU first. Give us a rundown on your thoughts on how the year went for you.
Yeah, obviously it was a tough ending. Losing by 4. It's kind of like my freshman year. We ended up losing by 1 my freshman year to Denver, and we just couldn't get the job done this year. We had a good fall. We won a couple times, and then this spring we got off to a pretty slow start, and things were looking kind of dark for a little while. And but I was really proud of the guys and for coming together during the Summer League tournament. And I mean, we gave it everything we had, and we just didn't have it coming down the back nine.
Tell us about that Summit League tournament. You mentioned it. The team finished in second place, 4 strokes off of Oral Roberts, who won the thing. Your thoughts on that tournament? You said it was disappointing, but there's got to be a sense of, hey, that was a pretty solid finish in there too, right?
Yeah, it was good. It was the first time it was hosted in Arizona, so we had some good weather, which is nice. But it was a super awesome venue to host, and I think they're going to have it there in the next coming years. But yeah, I mean, we got off to a good start. We wanted to hang around, and we did. And like I said, just coming down the back nine, and our freshman Sean Moore, who lives down there, he kind of told us coming into the week that it was going to come down to the last 3 holes of the tournament is usually what kind of decides it. And we just didn't make enough birdies coming down the stretch, myself included. It was tough. Just didn't have it the last day and a half, which was really a bummer way to go out. But it was all that I could ask for in my 4 years. And we gave it everything we had.
Absolutely. Again, that Summit League championship played in Mesa, Arizona. Was that a favorite trip of yours this year, or what would you say is your favorite trip this senior season?
Oh, we had some really good ones. We went back out to Bandon Dunes again this spring, Torrey Pines. And then this fall we were at Bethpage, which is hosting the Ryder Cup come this fall. So that was really cool to see, like, that level of championship golf. We had some pretty cool memories made down in San Diego, outside of the golf course, which I don't need to go into more depth about. But
it's okay. He said it on the show.
Yeah,
so
that's right. So
he mentioned it.
He heard about the beach incident.
Yes.
But that was super fun. And then the trip out to Bandon's unbelievable. Just the hospitality that I mean, it's an unbelievable destination golf spot. But yeah, like, there's just nothing better than college golf, traveling the country with your buddies, and obviously with a coach like Coach Kennedy, and he makes it everything more special. So it was unbelievable, and we had some really good memories my senior year.
I want to talk about Coach Kennedy here in a second. Tell me about Bethpage Black. That is it's a legendary golf course. What was your thoughts running through that track?
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, how'd you do?
The first two rounds of that tournament were played on the red course, 'cause they've got a few different courses on property. And that was nothing special. But then so everybody in the tournament went in blind to the black course. Practice round, no nothing. So you watch as many YouTube videos and read some articles as you can. But like, the place is just in pristine condition, and like the prep that they're doing for this fall is unbelievable. Like, this was back in, September, and they were watering the fairways every 2 hours, and so everything was super wet, which made the course play even longer. But just like how small the greens are, a lot of them are pitched up 10 to 15 yards, and if you're in the rough, you just can't.
Right. Unless
you're the top players in the world, you can't gouge it out and keep it on the greens. So it's going to be really interesting. I have some bad thoughts about the Americans coming into I don't know. It just seems like it fits right into the Europeans' hand, the type of golf. but also you get all those crazy fans out in New York that will be heckling.
Right, that's a good point.
That's a different element to it.
Are we talking like Oakmont difficult or couple notches down from that?
No, it'll definitely be a couple notches down from that.
Okay.
So actually, my sophomore year, we were on property at Oakmont. We didn't get to play, but able to check out the property, and so it was cool, like tuning into this past weekend, and seeing the golf. But I don't think it'll play that hard. I mean, everything. The U.S. Open is supposed to be the toughest test in all professional golf.
Yeah.
But as far as like a match play in a viewing setting, they won't set it up. My guess that hard. Like,
right.
People still want to see birdies and go back and forth.
Right.
That team atmosphere. But no, like you're gonna get some carnage out there for sure. But hopefully the guys make some birdies and the Americans come on top.
In your time throughout NDSU, your golfing career at NDSU, what was your favorite course? Was the one you played this year, or was there one from a couple years ago?
That's such a hard question, and I get it all the time.
Yeah.
I kind of group it like the major championship courses we played are like in a tier of its own. So we played Chambers Bay, Bethpage, Torrey Pines, South Course. Is that it? Yeah. So those three are kind of like in a tier of its own. Chambers Bay is super cool. Like the shots you can hit around that place and the slopes, and it's right on the sound. And we had good weather. It was just unbelievable. Like that place was awesome. Torrey Pines is different because it's a public golf course, and you can certainly see how hard it is, and the views are amazing. And then obviously Bethpage, and I had never been out to Long Island, and that was the first time, so that was an experience itself. But and same thing, like that's a public course, but then you have the one track that's superior to the others. But so those three for sure. But then as far as not to get too much into the weeds, but obviously the tournaments we had success at, like in Outer Banks, North Carolina, we won that a few times, and then down in Iowa. So just a lot of good memories, but overall those three courses stick out the most, and then obviously the trip to Bandon.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple more before we talk about the Red River Amateur Championship here. Got to ask you about Steve Kennedy. Of course, he announced his retirement just a couple of weeks ago, and we had him here on Hot Mic to chat about that decision. How much has he meant to your golfing career, and what can you share about Coach Kennedy?
Yeah, truly one of a kind. I mean, he was probably the biggest reason why I decided to stay and play at NDSU. Especially, you don't know how good you have it until you're actually in the program, and being around other coaches and how they interact with players. But just a genuine human being, like the greatest man that I've ever met, is true to his word. Like he's meant so much to us as a team, and I know everybody's going to say the same things about Coach Kennedy. You have nobody's going to say anything bad about him, and just all I can say, is the genuine care for each of one of his players is so special and something that I will cherish the rest of my life. And I'm so glad personally that he was here for my full time in college. And whoever is going to enter that role next has big shoes to fill, but I'm sure they're going to do a great job too.
It sounds like you guys didn't know while you were going throughout the year. What was the reaction when you found out?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I didn't say like it was a possibility, obviously. And we've had conversations personally, and but it's more so being for the guys on the team that are still there and the guys we've had relationships with, just to stay with each other. And it's kind of a challenging time, especially it's not ideal when your coach decides to leave in the middle of summer, but that is what it is. And so just and the good thing about NDSU is how close we are. Everybody is. So there's not going to be a lot of turmoil within the team, I guess you could say. But just being for the guys, and that's kind of all you can really do. But we wish nothing. Him and Big Mom were the best. So they're unbelievable people.
Absolutely. One more before we get to break here, and then we'll talk about the tournament coming up this weekend. Outside of the trip where he accidentally took you to an inappropriate beach, is there a good Coach Kennedy story that you can share that's TV appropriate?
Oh, yeah. I got a couple of them.
Yeah.
Well, he always liked to think he was a big, tough guy. So especially when we'd be practicing in the IPF and the football team, and Kramer would be working out, and you'd hear Kramer barking at his guys or blowing the whistle, and coach would always be like, man, I wish I had a whistle to blow if you guys hit a bad shot. But he would every once in a while do like a fake, like get mad. And we were out in Carolina the one time, and we were doing a putting drill after the round, and there was other teams involved around the putting green, and we were struggling. I mean, it wasn't like we were super like worried about the putting drill, but we had missed a couple, and all of a sudden he goes, just very loud so everybody can hear. He's like, God dang it, guys. Do you guys want to eat tonight or not? Like, totally joking. So we're all trying not to laugh. And then everybody around the putting green is, like, looking at coach like, oh, my God, what an idiot. And then the next day we had played with one of the teams that were around the green. And they're like, man, your coach. I was like, what about him? He
thought he was a psycho.
Yeah, he's like, do you like your coach? I was like, oh, yeah, he thinks he's a tough guy. But that's all
awesome.
for show. So,
That's awesome.
Yeah. But many others, but yeah.
Well, we wish him nothing but the best. Really cool to get the insight on that and get the insight on your senior season. You good to stick around for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, let's talk about the Red River Amateur Championship after we go to a break here. A lot more to get to with our guy Ian Simonich joining us on this Thursday morning. Hot Mike returns after this. All right, we're back here with our guy Ian Simonich, former Bison golfer, getting ready for the Red River Amateur Championship this weekend. A couple of minutes left with him in our first hour of the show on this Thursday morning. Red River Am coming up this week. You told us how excited you are for this. What's your week been like getting ready? I imagine it's a different life now that you're not involved in the college schedule and around a college program all the time.
Yeah, it has been, that's for sure. No, get off work, go hit some balls, and then that's kind of it. Play 9 holes if I can. But yeah, been fortunate to be able to work at MCC, and Goose and Luke have been awesome to me, where I can go out and practice and still work like it has been the last few years. So.
Yeah. How's the course looking?
Really good. Yep. Little bit of winter kill coming into the year with the fairways, but I know a lot of the courses in the area were the same. Greens are looking phenomenal. Actually, I mean, this rain this morning is going to help the course. It'll be soft, but it'll be super scoreable. And, yeah, everything else is looking really nice.
This is a tournament that you've had success in over the last couple of years, so close to winning the thing. I know you want to get it done this year. Describe the last couple of years playing in this tournament for you.
Yeah, super fun. And we were talking a little bit off camera, but the just with the cameras, it makes it even more special.
Yeah.
You don't ever get that, and the coverage that you guys do is awesome.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
But and then it's cool. Like obviously growing up in Moorhead, and my parents are able to come, family, friends, and so you get some people rooting for you. So it's nice to kind of be the hometown guy. But yeah, it'd be a lot cooler this weekend if I was able to win, or just even be in contention coming down Sunday. And that's kind of what it's all about. Like, if you have a chance to win, just being in those last few groups and having that coverage on you is just really cool.
I like that you mentioned the cameras. We had Goose on Monday. We had Jared Lentz, the head golf coach at Jamestown, on yesterday to talk about the mental side of this tournament. How different is this tournament from your usual college golf tournament?
Well, it's a lot different because there's a lot more people watching. I mean, in college golf, oftentimes it's just, I mean, you're only going to see your coach, and then maybe if a family comes and travels along.
Right.
So then you're kind of just in your own world. But there's a lot of outside factors, obviously, this weekend. But, I mean, there's nothing you can do about it. And at the end of the day, you want the coverage and you guys to present the tournament and then amateur golf, which is just going to grow even more. So there's nothing you can do but embrace it. And there might be a little bit more nerves, but that's what you play for, too.
Being on TV, we were talking off air. Describe what it's like playing golf, and it's televised. There's cameras around. There's reporters around. The spectators. That doesn't get to you that much, does it?
It does.
Yeah.
I'd be lying if I said it didn't. But if it kind of depends on how engaged you are in the tournament. If you're up there and you're playing well, and kind of all you're thinking about is golfing your little ball around, and then you're kind of just in the groove, and the outside factors are a little less annoying, I guess, if that's the word I'm looking for. But you certainly are aware of the cameras, and you're a little bit more well-behaved.
That's a good call.
But, yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can do except for embrace it. And, yeah, that's kind of how we have to deal with it.
What's your best score out there?
I don't know, 66, 67. Nothing. I'm not a golfer that goes out and lights the golf course up. Like I'm kind of
just be consistent.
Yeah, I'm way more steady Eddie. I mean, yeah, you talk to somebody else, they might go. I mean, you talk to Josh or Nate DeZiel, they'll tell you they'll go out and light it up. But I'm more of the steady Eddie.
Okay, I want the scouting report on some of those guys. I was counting up the field here. I think we got 11 guys on the men's side that have NDSU ties. You mentioned Josh and Nate are in there. Who should we be looking for outside of yourself? Who should we be keeping an eye out on?
Yeah, Josh is a gamer.
Yep.
Like he's gonna have his stuff no matter what, how his game kind of is coming in. But even guys like Max Wilson, the younger guys on the team this year, Jake Scarperud, obviously, Sean Moore, Gabe Benson, and then Rylan Petrie. All my guys. I hope they're out there at the end of the week too. But yeah, I haven't been around enough this year to kind of like take a big in-depth look in the field. Obviously, Ben Welly, the reigning champ, he's always going to be there. So I don't know like the guys that are coming up to play as much. Other than we've got Sam Baker. He's from Cloquet, plays at Florida Gulf Coast. Awesome kid, really good golfer too, and he's staying with us this week. So I hope he's up there too. But yeah, not super, I guess, like with the younger kids, the younger college and high school kids. But this is the best time for them, like to make a name for themselves, whether they're trying to get recruited or just looking to make that next step in their college golf career. This tournament provides that publicity for them, and so I always root for those kids too. It's always awesome to see. And that was my case too. Like growing up, like I had some success
you were in those shoes
as a high schooler, so it's always fun to have a high school kid in the mix or a young college kid. So, yeah, hopefully there's a few good storylines.
That Josh we were mentioning, Josh Galvin, who's had a lot of success at this Red River Amateur Championship. I see he's in your opening pairing or your opening group here when you tee off at noon tomorrow. So you got yourself, Josh Galvin, Tyler Sealing, and then I think Ben Welly's in the mix in there as well.
Yeah,
that's quite a powerhouse group there, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know how I got roped into that group, but I'll have to focus on watching my own golf ball, not there, especially Tyler. Tyler hits the ball a long ways, so when that's going, it's fun to watch.
Are you guys friends? Are you friends with your teammates on the course, or is it cutthroat?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I will be, like, especially now that I have no skin in the game in college golf, and we're all buddies. I mean, maybe come Sunday we'll chat a little bit less, but no, it'll be a fun time, especially with Ben. And Ben is the ultimate competitor. That there's a lot of things that I wish I had from his game, competitor wise. But no, we'll chat it up and we'll have a fun time.
That's awesome to hear. A lot of those guys that you mentioned, they got roots in this region. What can you say about the level of golf and how much this is just continuing to get better and better? You talked about the younger kids up, and college golf is getting better. High school golf is fantastic. What can you say about the level of golf here? Yeah, it's only growing. It's getting better and better every year. Obviously, you have your years where there's some stronger than others, but overall, like there's a constant growth of good amateur golfers coming out of this area. I mean, you've got the highest of the highs, like the Persons and the Welly and everything, and then you got, the kids coming out of college and then the high school kids. But it's just a constant wave, which is awesome, and that's also testament to how accessible golf is in the area. Fargo Parks, Moorhead golf courses. Like people are aware that golf is growing a ton. Yeah. And just having access for kids to be able to play is a huge deal, and that's what makes it better, and that's why it thrives in this community. No doubt. A couple of minutes left here with our guy Ian Simonich as he gets ready for the Red River Amateur Championship. What's your schedule for the summer? Are you all in on the amateur route right now? No. Okay. I'm kind of out for this summer at least. I'll play in this one and hopefully a couple more, but it's definitely a lighter summer golf-wise for me. Trying to focus more on my actual professional career. But it gets to that point. Yeah, and that's what it is. And hopefully I can get back into it in the years down the road. But no, I'm trying to learn a lot. And for someone who doesn't know, and this tournament, maybe you can explain it better than I can, the amateur ranking points that are on the line with this tournament, what does that mean, and what could that mean for somebody? Yeah, I mean, for me, it's not it's not a big deal now, but like when I was, younger in college, it was a big deal because those points,
I mean, you win, you jump up into. I mean, this tournament's not as highly ranked as the top elite series in the summer, but those points are all. I mean, if you're top like 100, you get in automatically to the U.S. Amateur. You can get like the new PGA Tour U ranking points, like for the high level amateur college golfers. But it's also just a way to see, like, it's kind of cool to be like, oh my god, like I'm
this
like
ranked
1800 in the world, like as
cool,
an amateur golfer.
Yeah.
Which obviously people take it for what they want.
Right.
Some are more into it than others, but it is kind of cool just to see and who all is ranked on there, and just a way to rank amateur golfers.
Last one for you. Areas on the course that we should watch out for. What areas give you struggles, and which one are scoring opportunities?
Are you talking like me personally or the field?
I'd say for the field.
Okay. Well, the start is tough. I mean, so normally the first hole plays as a par 5 for the members, and on the men's side of things, it's a par 4. So you have two tough par 4s to start with 1 and 2. So like if you can get through those even par, you're probably in a good spot. And then you have 2 par 5s on the front now, actually. So yeah, if you can kind of cruise the front at even or 1 under, you're probably in a good spot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, there aren't really any stretches out there where you can kind of get it going. There's always like a hole that's gettable, and then a hole that you'll take par. But obviously, like hole 11 is fun. Like how electric was it last year when Welly holed out for eagle on 11?
Yep,
like, and that green is so small where if you hit on the green, you're gonna have a good look for birdie. Excuse me. And then, 15, 16 with the island green, and then 17 is gettable. So, I guess that last stretch of 15 through 18, you can definitely make some birdies. So if somebody's chasing and they have a good finish, they could end up winning the thing.
All right. Hey, man, this was fun. I know you're going to go out there today and you're going to get ready for all this, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you this weekend. Wish you the best of luck, and I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's
Absolutely.
always fun.
Ian Simonich joining us on this Thursday morning. Again, the Red River Amateur Championship at the Moorhead Country Club coming up this weekend. We'll have it live on WDAY Plus and WDAY Extra Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All 3 days starting at noon. And it's free to watch. That's another thing, too. It's not behind a paywall, so anyone can watch this. Great to have Ian in. Thanks for joining us here. We'll step aside when we come back. Hour number 2 coming up. We're talking high school hockey. That's up next on Hot Mic.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Back for hour number 2 on this Thursday morning. Big thank you to Ian Simonich, Moorhead native, former Bison golfer, for joining us today, chatting Red River Amateur Golf, getting ready for that tournament coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we'll have it for you on WDAY Extra and WDAY Plus. I've said it before, whenever I'm filling in for Dom on this show, I got to chat hockey, especially high school hockey. I've been here for 3 years now, and it's been so much fun learning the landscape of North Dakota high school hockey, seeing the talent that's out there right now, and just to be able to talk about it with some of the heavy hitters is a lot of fun. And that's what we have here to start hour number 2. Tyler Klein joining us here on this Thursday morning. He's the head coach of Fargo North Hockey. We were just chatting off air. It's a little weird to be talking hockey in June, but it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on this morning.
Yeah, you as well, Sam. Thanks for having me. I love that you mentioned that about hockey. You know, I think it probably, I think it could stand to be, we'd love it covered more. And I think the more that people are talking about Fargo hockey is a good thing. We've got quite the powerhouse across the river with Moorhead and Minnesota hockey. But I've always been a Fargo hockey guy, so I love being able to talk about our local programs and what we're doing here and be able to, kind of put it out there that we've got fantastic players and programs as well, and it's growing, and our kids need that, and our sport needs that too in North Dakota, and more positive talk around it is always great, and it's always welcomed.
Absolutely. And we're not just bringing you on for no reason. There is plenty of stuff to talk about here in the month of June. I want to go back to the state tournament this last year. That's when the news came down that Fargo South Shanley, that co-op, was going to dissolve going into this upcoming season. Shanley would co-op with the faith-based schools in the metro here and create their own program, and then that left up questions, well, what's going to happen to the Fargo South team? Because the numbers just haven't been there. Well, we now know the answer, that Fargo South and Fargo North are going to come together and co-op in the sport of high school hockey on the boys' side and the girls' side for this upcoming season. Give us the background on this. How long has this been in the works, and what have the last couple of months been like?
Yeah, it feels like a long time ago.
It does.
I remember when it did come out, I'm like, oh, I feel like my phone's just going to blow up. And there's going to be question, concern, even like uneasiness, right? Because we don't know. It wasn't really like that. I think this has been something that's probably been talked about or looked at for a while.
Mm-hmm.
The north side of the program has been really healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to make tough decisions in November, like we have had for previous years, and there's been healthy numbers there. And no one loves making those decisions, but I think it means your program is healthy. So, we've had the numbers, but we've also known that it was a Shanley thing, it was a South thing, and when I played high school hockey, Shanley was their own team and South was their own team, and both of them have had some tremendous seasons, and they've had great seasons together too. So, a lot of question mark, a lot of wonder. I think there's quality numbers at Fargo Davies, and more so than there are at Fargo North. So that was kind of the thought. Is it's been done on the girls' side. I think some of the success that the girls have had just speaks for itself, and they've done an incredible job with that program. And we're sitting here going, can we do that too?
Right.
So it took some time, and I can't speak for families necessarily, but for me, it was wanting to prepare for anything and everything, wanting to make sure the communication was right. And now that we have an answer and we have something to move forward with, that's to me the best part. We are skating. We want to connect players and families because, we're taking two high schools that had been taught to, that was the number one goal, was to beat each other. And now we're going to put them together.
Yeah.
But these kids know each other. They grow up playing together. I think there's something really exciting about this. And November's a ways away, and I love summer, so I'm not wishing that away by any means, but I am excited when we actually go take the ice in November.
I want to dissect that a little bit. I was on the phone for a half hour, an hour with Dean Wilson, giving me the history of Fargo North against Fargo South and what that used to be like. You lived that rivalry in the heyday. What was that rivalry like?
I mean, I've got just incredible memories of it, right, from so many different angles. And I love Wills. What an amazing Fargo hockey guy, and he's got some of the best stories out there. So I guarantee he told you a couple good ones.
Yep.
But I remember going to the old Coliseum. We're kicking the puck around, playing boot hockey with all the boys, but then like the place was packed. It's north-south hockey. It was just the hottest ticket in town, and everybody was there, and it brought out not just hockey fans, that high school. Like if you were connected to North, you were there. If you're connected to South, you're there. And as a player, I remember even through youth, right? Because it was Raider Flyer. I remember there being games where it's like there is no like or love for anybody on the other side. We want to beat them. That's the goal. And then you grow up, right? And you play with some of these guys out of season or at different events. So you find yourself skating to the center dot, kind of sharing that eye glance with that player. Like, we're buddies, but boy, I'm not going to take it easy on you tonight. And then, you're giving them hugs after the game. And I love that. Like, I love seeing that and seeing kids that have that connection with players after the game. And I think it ups the compete level. And I remember being a coach, and it was one of my first North-South games, and I thought we weren't very good after the first period. And I was a young coach, and it was one of the first times I think I really leaned into the kids after the first period. And they had a tremendous response. We go out there, we score like 3-4 goals unanswered. And I remember, right, and it's awesome that he was the guy, but JD, who's, sadly not with us anymore, but I think he knew I was a young guy, and he could see me kind of overthinking it. And he pops into my ear and he's like, well, whatever you said in the room worked. and we laughed really quickly. And and it did, right? We won the game
Yeah.
5-3. And if you would have told me that after the first period, I was like, well, I thought we were going to get our butts kicked because I just didn't like the way we were playing. But there's tons of tremendous stories and memories and different generations of coaches and guys that I'm connected to who just love the North-South rivalry. And it's wild to think that it's not going to look like that anymore. But I think there's a really cool opportunity here for kids to put their mark on something that is special, that is historical, and that will be remembered. So, I think the kids are bought into that, and that is the exciting side of it. There's a hard piece to this too, for sure, but that's the exciting side of it. And I want kids to work towards that, and I want people to accept that and understand that there's an opportunity to do some really cool stuff here. And if we can have some level of success that the girls have had, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And really, that's what it boils down to. Obviously, people are going to be upset that the rivalry is not there between North and South. But when you look after the co-op between South and Shanley dissolved, there's only, 13 guys in the South program right now? And it's all about getting these kids an opportunity to play. And that's exactly what's happening here, right?
Yeah, for sure. And, you look across the state, the level of competitiveness is increasing. So as a coach, you're trying to put the most competitive team out there, right? Like Grand Forks, I mean, we know they're tremendous programs. The Western teams are picking up, right? Like Legacy's got a really strong program. Minot has put some really good teams on the ice lately. I don't think there's any gimmies in the EDC, especially if you don't show up. So I think competitiveness is absolutely there. And then you look past that and you're like, you're future proofing it, or you're building it for the future through your JV team. So you have to be looking at those things, and you have to be building, you have to be developing, and you have to keep competitiveness in mind too. And how are we going to stack up against these teams? So I think there's plenty of rivalries out there still. I love lacing them up against Minot, which is a 1 game a year for us right now. Anytime you're on the ice with Grand Forks, you feel like you're on the ice with the standard of North Dakota high school hockey, right? So it's like, get yourself into that game and really see. It's a measuring stick. And if you're fortunate enough to beat them, you can kind of feel like you're a contender. And I think the Shanley team's going to quickly roll into just a local Fargo, West Fargo rivalry right there. And then, of course, if we can do anything, we can combine North and South, and we can both get on the same page that we'd love to beat Fargo Davies. And I know they're going to sit there and say, we want to beat Fargo North and Fargo South too. So there's healthy competition in the Metro and across our state, which is great.
You can definitely build new rivalries. They may not be the same as North-South, but you can build up from there, which is going to be super cool. I know we're a long ways away, and it's hard to look into the crystal ball. What do you expect that first week of practice to be like with South and North kids there?
Yeah. And we're skating right now.
Oh, are you?
We're skating in the mornings, right? June and July are the months where we can be with our players, and we get on the ice 3 days a week. And, to me, I don't think that's too much. I think it's the right mix. And I know kids are working out, training, they're skating, they're working on some skill development. And I think all of that is great. So, one thing we're talking about, right, is this level of connectedness on and off the ice, because we're going to need it more than a team who's just their high school. So that's important to us. But as much as there's, compete level and guys are pushing each other, a June and July skate they're looking a touch different than November. So I would anticipate nerves. I'm going to anticipate, guys just not quite sure what to expect a little bit. But then once we skate through some of that and get through it, I think it's going to be a high level of compete. I think you're going to see a lot of guys doing the right things, fighting for spots. And while that is the hard part of the game, that also does bring the best out in everybody. So, me being just a hockey lover myself, I'm excited to watch it and be a part of it and help kids get there. That's really the goal right now too, is say, I understand that this is intimidating and new, and guys might be looking over their shoulder about where they're going to line up or fit into a lineup. And I'm telling kids, like, as much as the staff are your coaches, we're going to work with you guys and be your partner to help you to develop, give you the tools, and make sure that you're the best version of yourself come November. So I'm excited for the competition. I think that's what you need to grow. And I fully understand the nerves, and I know that in my seat I'm the head coach, and that might come with some level of intimidation, but I try to smile a lot and keep it as light as I can when I'm able to, and hopefully that'll get kids comfortable quickly, and then we'll just be able to compete and focus on the game and really work on our product.
I'm really looking forward to see what this team can do this coming year and the upcoming years as well. I got to ask you, the girls' side of this and their co-op, North-South, the Spruans, they've dominated the girls' side of North Dakota high school hockey. Are we going to see branding in this new co-op? Are we going to see a boys Spruans in there, or does it stay Fargo North?
So it is confirmed that it's staying Fargo North Spartans.
Okay.
And I know that was a piece which was, I think there was conversation around it, right? Part of that staying that way is this is something that's going to be evaluated year to year. I mean, there was a meeting in April where it was said that if numbers come back around and the health of the South program allows itself to go back on its own, that's where that's where we would all like to go. But I think it's like an evaluation based on year to year. And if it is something that, deems like this is going to be concrete and this is the best path moving forward, then I think we have those conversations. But, probably a simple one for now. And, if there was a South player sitting there, I could understand, changing colors and that being difficult. But, I also believe in our messaging, our staff, our program, and what we've built, that there's going to be some excitement there. And, at the end of it, it is just hockey, right? And still playing the game, still competing, different jersey. I'm about that. But if there's success, when there's success, and when things start to click, I think kids are going to love it and really find that camaraderie. And that's when that's the moment where you just sit back and watch and are able to be a fan of it, and hoping for that, right? Really
Absolutely.
am. And I think we're going to get there.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys play. Thanks for coming on and giving us a couple of minutes. I know you got a really busy schedule going on right now, but thanks for coming on, chatting hockey in the month of June. It's going to be a fun season coming up.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Thanks for having me, Sam. This is great. And yeah, looking forward to seeing Pack Coliseum like the old days. I know the rink looks a little bit different, and it might feel different this year, but I think it's something that people should be a part of, whether they're attached to the game or not. So really appreciate you taking the time to really talk about our sport and what we're doing here in North Dakota. So that's just awesome.
Absolutely. Tyler Klein, the head coach of the Fargo North Spartans, joining us here on this Thursday morning. Big thank you for joining us here once again today. Talking hockey in the month of June. There is nothing better than that. Again, the big news, North and South officially co-oping for this upcoming season. And we mentioned it there. It all boils down to the key aspect of things, and that is participation in high school sports. North or South and Shanley, when they co-op last year, if I saw it correctly, there was only 2 guys from South that were on that roster. You gotta give those guys an opportunity to play somewhere, and there's only 13 total coming up throughout the South program. At least that was what was on the co-op application for this upcoming year. Got to give them a chance. I love that they're coming together. There's good talent at both of those schools coming together, creating more parity in the sport of high school hockey in North Dakota. He mentioned it. Legacy's getting better. Minot's fantastic now, even though they may lose some graduating talent from this last season. Red River and Central's always going to be at the top of the mix. Davies is always getting better. I'm very curious what Shanley's going to look like now, a new and up-and-coming program. But a lot of those kids had success with this South Shanley co-op just over the last couple of years. Things are going to look really interesting coming up into this upcoming high school hockey season, not just on the boys' side, but on the girls' side as well. And I'm glad that they're getting the opportunity to allow kids a chance to play. Yeah, there's probably going to be cuts in there somewhere, but that's how sports work. A lot of people get cut. I was cut from everything in high school. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how everything shakes out. All right, we are due for a break. We'll step aside when we come back. Let's chat a little College World Series. It was a crazy night last night, and then we'll get into a deep run with St. Cloud Power Hour coming up to wrap up the show at 10:35 today. That's coming up when we come back on Hot Mic. Welcome back on this Thursday morning. Sam Getzinger filling in for Dom Izzo for one more day, one more half hour. Dom will be back tomorrow. We're out live for the Red River Amateur Championship Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Big thank you to Tyler Klein for joining us here on this Thursday morning, chatting high school hockey, North-South coming together for this upcoming season. To go back on the Red River Amateur Championship, I'll mention it before we go off the air here today, but I can't stress it enough. We will have the broadcast of the tournament for you live on WDAY Extra, WDAY Plus, starting at 12 o'clock each day, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It is not behind a paywall either, so that means anybody can go on and watch, which is super cool to showcase the level of talent and to get you ready for that. Hot Mic will be live tomorrow morning from the Moorhead Country Club as well, so we're looking forward to that. It's been a fun show so far today. We're going to continue that with the St. Cloud Power Hour coming up in a couple of moments. Before we get to that, I wanted to touch on the College World Series. We've been giving you updates throughout the week here. And man, what a tournament this has been between the first no-hitter since 1960 by the Arkansas Razorbacks and Gage Wood, who's a MLB first-round prospect, to more walk-offs that happened the other day between Louisville and Oregon State, and that led us into last night, another crazy game in Omaha for the College World Series. Show you the highlights here. Arkansas taking on LSU. Arkansas wins. These two teams will play again on Thursday, today. If LSU wins, then they advance to the World Series final. So it's a big-time game for LSU. Bases loaded here in the bottom of the sixth, and it's Jake Brown with a big-time hit to the outfield to score a couple of runs. LSU's on the board 2-1. Here's a chopper in the top of the eighth. LSU trying to turn two, but it's misplayed at first. That allows a run in to score. Arkansas would take the lead 3-2 at that point because they couldn't turn the double play. So we go to the bottom of the eighth. 3-2 score once again. It's Jared Jones sailing this to the right center gap, and it's over the wall. 3-3 at that point. Tied up as we go to the ninth. In the top of the frame, obviously, there's some aggression there. No doubt about that. Top of the frame, two runners on. Ground ball through the left side. Two runs come in to score, and Arkansas would take a 5-3 lead. Victory in their grasp. It's so close for the Arkansas Razorbacks. Bottom of the ninth. LSU down by 2. Interesting decision here. The shortstop decides to go for the force out with two runners on. The force was at third. Could have gone for the double play and the game would have been over. But they get the force out. That means there's new life here for LSU. Next batter, Luis Hernandez. A line drive to left field and the worst possible outcome for Arkansas. It hits off of the left fielder, squirts into the corner, and just like that, it's a tie ball game. Oh, could you imagine being in that situation? Off of the shoulder. Just despair from the Arkansas side. A sigh of relief for LSU. And then we got a pitching change after that. It's Jones back at the dish. Off of the glove of the second baseman. Runner coming around third, and LSU's going to walk it off in a crazy game at the College World Series. 6-5 the final score. Arkansas twice. Inches. Decisions away from winning the game, keeping it tied, giving them another chance, but it just did not shake out their way in the bottom of the ninth inning. 6-5 the final score. That was the nightcap last night. Coastal Carolina also beat Louisville yesterday. So it will be Coastal Carolina and LSU for the College World Series Championship. The schedule for that, it's Saturday, Sunday, Monday if needed. It's a best-of-3 series. Saturday is at 6 o'clock on ESPN. Sunday is on ABC at 1:30. And then if they need that third game of the series, it will be on Monday night, 6:30 on ESPN as well. Just a really fascinating College World Series that's been brewing so far. Eric, are you pulling up one of the things here in Omaha is the Jell-O shot board. I have not followed along with this throughout this year, but I know it's a long-standing tradition there. Coastal Carolina, they got the lead. Am I looking at the numbers right? LSU's got the lead. LSU, 23,651. That is a lot of Jello shots. Oh, my goodness. Eric, how many would you get down?
Like 3. I mean, I'm not even giving myself that many. But LSU actually holds the record of like 64,000.
Jeez.
And they also hold the number 1 record for most Jello shots bought in a day at 8,888 by one guy. But the cool thing about this, and I applaud Rocco's, which is the bar that does this, is they donate a lot of their proceeds to the food banks from these areas, like to their teams.
That's awesome.
So last year they donated $145,000 between the 8 teams. The year before that was even more because obviously LSU will be way higher, and now they are there much longer.
That's good for the Baton Rouge community, no doubt about that. But it's been a fun College World Series. Unreal the amount of Jello shots that have been consumed in Omaha this week.
Shout out Murray State too, by the way.
Absolutely, shout out Murray State. Great story, even though it ended on probably the worst way to end it, a no-hitter to the hands of Arkansas. But what a story from them! What a year they put together. Coastal Carolina, by the way, heading into this championship series, they've won their last 26 games in a row. Hottest team in baseball right now, I think, regardless of league. So we'll see what they can do against LSU in front of a lubricated fan base, if you will. With that being said, let's step aside. When we come back, new meeting to the St. Cloud Power Hour on this Thursday morning. Alec Ausmus will join us from KSTP Sports. Looking forward to this conversation coming up. We're chatting everything that's going on in the world of Minnesota sports. That's next on Hot Mic. Final half hour on this Thursday morning. It's been a fun show so far. Again, Dom Izzo back here tomorrow when we are live on location at the Red River Amateur Championship. But it is Thursday morning at 10:30, and that means the St. Cloud Power Hour is going to take on a new meaning here today. We're taking out the middleman. We're getting rid of the New York guy. We're getting the Minnesota conversation going here today. Alec Ausmus joins us on the show from KSTP Sports. Great to see you, man. Thanks for coming on. I got to tell you this story. This is the first time we've communicated since I don't even think you remember this. It would have been during the pandemic. I was sent home from St. Cloud, and Derek Silvestri called you in, who runs the TV station, the student TV station, called you in to speak to our class. I never got the opportunity to thank you for that, so thank you, and it's good to see you.
I imagine that was over Zoom something, right?
It was,
video.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I do remember that. I was working in Madison, Wisconsin at the time. I think I remember setting up because that was when Zoom was like this, not a new thing, but kind of like the video concept of how we all communicate now was emerging. So I'm glad that was one of my first experiences with Zoom, was getting to talk to you guys. Very cool.
Well, to give you some feedback, a couple of years later, you did a great job. You sparked the young minds of the St. Cloud State Huskies, so that was pretty cool, and I appreciate you for doing that in a weird time that was. I want to talk Minnesota sports, but I got to ask you some St. Cloud questions real quick. How many late nights did you have at Stewart Hall?
Oh my gosh, many.
Yeah.
I remember down in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
If you were going to KVSC, but there were also like another room with a couple edit bays off to the right when you got down to the bottom of the steps.
Yep.
And I don't know how many episodes of Husky Mag or little segments, feature stories for Husky Productions that I spent editing there. A good friend of mine, Jim Bothan, who now is a producer editor with Bally Sports and now FanDuel Sports Network. He was also a student at the time, and he would live down there. I mean, he would sleep down there. He would edit such great stories. So here's a shameless plug for St. Cloud State. If you're serious about this industry, you want to get into this industry, that program is fantastic. You get your hands on everything. You're editing. You're using cameras. You can be on camera. Mm-hmm. You can hop on the radio. You can write for a newspaper. Whatever you want to do. The opportunities are there.
Absolutely. I couldn't second that more. You and I did all of that when we were there at St. Cloud. When was the last time you've been to the Herb?
Oh, my goodness. Actually, not that long. So I popped up this last winter, and I did a story with the St. Cloud wrestling team and the volleyball team, because the volleyball team was making
both very good,
potentially a national championship run. And I got a tour of some of the additions to the Herb Brooks Center and maybe what could be next and what they would like to see next. And it looks like the stuff that's done is great, but it looks like there's still a lot of potential. And everything's so expensive now. Let's be real.
Well,
I mean, you got to raise so much money, but it's good to see. Anytime there's money getting pumped into anything at an alma mater, you got to love it.
Absolutely. Well, they're getting some funding to renovate the place, so I'm looking forward to see what they do to that. Looks like it's going to go down to a not an Olympic-sized sheet of ice anymore. It's going to go down to NHL. But we only got a couple of minutes here with you, and I want to get into the important stuff here. Give us a rundown, your thoughts on the Twins' slump this month. What do you make of what they've been doing?
So last year, if you remember, Joe Ryan had the same injury that Pablo Lopez has right now, and that was in August. And the Twins, it was a slow decline, and they lost their way out of playoff contention. You can't think that in June right now that's what's happening with Pablo Lopez being out. But these are close games. Like the rain-shortened game last night, a one-run game the night before. I know last week the Texas Rangers series when they were giving up 16 runs in 2 different games, that was odd. Okay, that's not happening a ton. If you look at the standings, the Twins aren't that far out of a wild card spot, like a game and a half, and there's like two and a half games separating like 12 or 13 teams in the American League. So it's a losing streak sucks. A 7-game, 6-7-game losing streak is not fun, but they're not out of this. It's mid-June, like. They can still be buyers at the trade deadline that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Like, I know this looks grim, but they can get out of this. There's still time. I'm not panicking yet. We've seen spurts where guys are playing well, and I like to always remind people right now, enjoy this version of Byron Buxton that we're seeing, because this could be the best season we've ever seen out of Byron Buxton, and they are MVP-like numbers.
Absolutely. I just looked it up. Game and a half out of a wild card spot here. And I got to remind myself all the time, it's only June. There's still plenty of time left in this.
Absolutely. And what's different, though, between right now and the beginning of the season, right? Because they started the season kind of slow. And I think at the beginning of the year, everybody was healthy. You still have time. You kind of can tell yourself, the Twins are going to snap out of this. And I know that June is one of those important months where games that you win and lose in June can set you up for August and September. So the panic needle is flirting with red a little bit. Let's not act like there's nothing wrong, but it's not quite time to panic yet.
Okay. Let's turn our attention. Again, the Twins play tonight. Or this afternoon, I should say. We'll remind you of that in just a couple of minutes. Turn our attention to the WNBA. Give us a preview of the Commissioner's Cup. Lynx and Fever, which is going to be must-see TV. If everybody's healthy, what can we expect on July 1st?
Well, we're going to hear from the Lynx at 11 a.m. this morning. I'm hoping to get a Cheryl Reeve, Nafisa Collier injury update. Hopefully it's nothing serious. We've seen the Lynx be able to win without Nafisa Collier. They have some weapons. They have some players, even some bench players. Natisha Heidemann off the bench has been a pleasant surprise scoring-wise this year. But they can win without Nafisa, but they're not going to win at a high level. The Commissioner's Cup, you want everything against Caitlin Clark. Let's be real. I mean, that's a good team with Caitlin Clark. Her and Nafisa Collier are MVP runner. I mean, whoever wins, the next one's going to be right behind in the voting. That's going to be fun, though. Anytime, even when Caitlin Clark was in college and she'd come to Minneapolis to play the Gophers, it was a packed house. So add it to the WNBA level, add it over at Target Center. That's going to be great. I'm just hoping Nafisa Collier stays healthy.
Absolutely.
The Lynx will need Nafisa to make another run at the WNBA Finals.
Absolutely. That's going to be must-see TV. July 1st, the Commissioner's Cup. It's at Target Center in Minnesota. That's going to be a lot of fun. Sticking with basketball, how closely are you following this Kevin Durant news, and what's the likelihood of him coming to Minnesota?
Man, we're definitely following it.
Yeah.
What's the cost? What's the price tag? What do the Timberwolves need to give up if they were to pull off a deal to trade for Kevin Durant? And how much does it cost? Does Kevin Durant want a contract extension? There's so many elements to this. If the Timberwolves can possibly do it without parting ways with Jaden McDaniels and not needing to give Kevin Durant a 4-year extension, something crazy like that, I don't hate it. Clearly, this Timberwolves team is good, but they're not good enough.
Yeah.
They've been to the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row now. They can't get by the Thunder right now. The Thunder aren't going anywhere anytime soon. In fact, the Thunder might become the the NBA champions later tonight. So if they can hang on to Jaden McDaniels and obviously have Anthony Edwards and a soon to be 37-year-old Kevin Durant, I don't hate it. I mean, KD is scoring 25, 26 points a game. He played in over 60 games this year. That part of it I like. I just don't want to leverage too much of the future. Just Phoenix. If I'm Phoenix, I want Terrence Shannon Jr. I want a draft pick. I maybe even want Rob Dillingham. Julius Randle or Rudy Gobert might be involved in that trade. So the price tag is high. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. But the Timberwolves need to do something drastic to get over the hump and get to the NBA Finals.
I agree with you. The Wolves need that strong secondary or primary scoring option with Ant. And there's no doubt about that. I totally get that to get over the hump here. I think if the rumors are true from what I'm seeing, you got Rudy Gobert, Dante DiVincenzo, a 17th overall pick, and then either Rob Dillingham or Terrence Shannon Jr. Is that too much for a guy who doesn't even want to be here in the first place?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I personally, right now, kind of want to hang on to Terrence Shannon Jr. But I also think San Antonio and Houston both have a lot of draft capital. I think San Antonio has quite a bit of draft capital they can throw in. I think San Antonio could make a pretty sweet deal, and I think Houston could almost top it. And it sounds like Durant wants to go to either one of those more than he does Minnesota.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that plays into it. If a deal's done, a deal's done.
He has no say in it. Yep.
Yeah, but Tim Connolly, the GM of the Timberwolves, he has shown that he's not afraid to pull the trigger and maybe make a trade at the face value is jaw-dropping.
Yeah.
I mean, when Karl Anthony Towns essentially was traded for Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, at first that was insane, at least so it felt. And then the second half of the season into the playoffs, we saw the value of Julius Randle, and we kind of forgot about it. We kind of forgot that was such a bizarre trade. And he also traded for Rudy Gobert the year before. So Tim Connolly's not afraid. Tim Connolly will do what he thinks he needs to do. And I think Tim Connolly, that is, has shown that we need to kind of trust the decisions that he wants to move, what players he wants to move here. He's shown that he knows what he's doing, and I'm kind of curious. There's a part of me that's curious to see what the Timberwolves might do this offseason, but I think something gets done before the draft in about 2 weeks.
Okay, I'll be looking forward to that. It's becoming a potential reality here. A couple more before we let you go here. Who's your pick for the finals game tonight?
If I'm Oklahoma City, obviously you want to just win it and get it done, but you probably want to do that on your home floor. But in this case, that would require this thing going to a 7th game, and you don't want to roll the dice. I thought the Thunder were going to win this series in 5, and by game 3, I thought I was way wrong on that.
Yeah.
Tonight's game 6, Halliburton's iffy. If he plays, it sounds like he's iffy. The Thunder are like sharks. They smell blood in the water. I think they close it out tonight, even though that's on the road. But good for that franchise. I mean, they're going to be good for a long time. They've got 9 first-round picks in the next 5 or 6 years. This is going to be potentially one of several NBA championships that I think that the Oklahoma City Thunder pull off tonight.
Okay, all right. So there's your pick from Alec for tonight. I've been saying all week I would be amazed if it didn't go to 7, and then Tyrese goes down, and I don't know about that anymore. I don't think they can push that to 7. And even if he is healthy,
Indiana could be desperate.
Yeah, but even if Tyrese is healthy, he has to be 110%. He's got to be a man on a mission and at least act like he's healthy.
The last game for sure, we saw that insane, suffocating defense from the Thunder that the Timberwolves saw in the 5 games that they lasted. So the Thunder, I think, figured something out defensively. They figured out a way to really slow Indiana down. But Indiana is better than I thought. They can fast break better, just as good as the Thunder. They do have moments where they play great defense. Obi Toppin has been nice. Pascal Siakam, I mean,
he's been pretty good. Yeah,
how valuable is that guy? So Indiana's been better than I thought. I didn't think they were going to get to this point. And week after week, talking with Dom on this show, with him being, I assume, a Knicks fan.
I don't even know.
I don't know. Him being from New York, I just felt like it was kind of cool to see the Knicks in that situation. But Indiana was the better team, and who knows? They could be desperate tonight. They could pull things off. The game's on ABC. So we'll definitely have it on.
All right. Well, there we go. Hey, Alec, thanks for coming on this morning. St. Cloud Power Hour Rapid Fire. That was fun, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're killing it. You're making St. Cloud proud.
Hey, you too, Sam. Thanks for having me, and we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you later. Alec Ausmus joining us on the St. Cloud Power Hour on this Thursday morning. Alec from KSTP. That was a lot of fun. A lot of info there. Good conversation with Mr. Ausmus. All right. We're due for a break. Let's step aside. When we come back, we'll get into what to watch, and we'll wrap things up on this Thursday. It's going to be a fun day today. Great weather-wise. Hot Mike wraps up after this. All right, a couple of minutes left here on this Thursday morning. One thing I mentioned at the top of the show that I wanted to get to, because it's a very interesting storyline going into this upcoming FCS football season, and that's what's going on with Sac State football and Sac State, the university in general. We had a long conversation about it yesterday. There was some drama, probably all lighthearted fun, but some drama, I like to say, in the social media world with Sac State's president, USD's athletic director as well. Well, the president, Luke Woods, tweeted this out yesterday. This is a long plead to the Division I Council on why Sac State should be at the FBS level. If you remember, the FBS Oversight Committee is going to recommend the D1 Council to not let them into the FBS. To give you a Reader's Digest on this long thing, I'd read the whole thing, but we'd run out of time in the show. The president of Sac State's essentially saying all their reasoning that's flawed. We should be FBS. We're in a large market. Large media market. We're underrepresented in the college football world in this part of the country, which he's got some good points in there. If you got some free time and you're curious about this, give it a read. He does have some good points in there, but he does have a couple other points that seem a little, I don't know. I mean, that leaves up the discussion for a lot of other teams. He said that location shouldn't be a factor at all in the decision to move up to FBS. Well, that sounds familiar. NDSU would be in that same boat right there. So it just continues to grow. Right now, the D1 Council likely will not allow Sac State, and then that would mean they would be an independent FCS football program moving forward. So we'll see how it goes. Dom, I'm sure we'll talk about it when he's back in next week. He can do it a lot more justice than I can, but that's just a quick update on where we're at with the Sac State news and that storyline going on. Okay, let's get into what to watch before we get out the door here today. Of course, the big one, NBA Finals, Game 6. Oklahoma City can put it away tonight in Indiana. 7:30 start time for that on ABC. You can catch it right here on WDAY. As of 10:56 on this Thursday morning, no update on Tyrese Halliburton. So we'll see if he plays. If he doesn't, it could be panic mode for the Pacers today. Twins and Reds, Game 3 of that series starts in a little less than an hour here from the Great American Ballpark. 11:40 first pitch. You can catch that on Twins TV. And, of course, Gold Cup soccer. Tune on in. USA versus Saudi Arabia. What Drew Trafton tells me yesterday is that USA should clobber Saudi Arabia, and if they don't, then we have a deeper conversation on our hands here. That game's 8:15 on Fox Sports 1. So that's what to watch for tonight. Hey, thanks for letting me come in and take some of your week here, filling in for Dom. It's been a lot of fun. I'll be back the early part of July. He's out on vacation, so I'll be back in July for that. But in the meantime, we'll see you at the Red River Amateur Championship coming up this weekend, I should say. Again, Hot Mike is live tomorrow from the Moorhead Country Club. Big thank you to Caden Ward for joining us today. Ian Simonich as well. Tyler Klein and Alec Ausmus. Great conversations all throughout this Thursday morning. If you missed any part of it, you can podcast it, watch it back on inform.com or WDAY Plus as well. Thanks again for letting me join. We'll see you tomorrow out on the golf course. Have a great rest of your Thursday.